Simon. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys all doing? Good. I know it's early, so I'm going to do my best to keep you entertained. How many of you have ever visited Cars.com or looked for a vehicle? That's good. That's what I like to see. Today I'm going to discuss continuous integration, dealing with the tools we use, the percent of test cycle time we save, and how we integrated CI into our process, and even added single user performance to our tests. A little bit of history around Cars.com. We started in 1998, right around there. We're based in Chicago. We're the leading destination for online car shoppers, visited by more than 11 million car shoppers each month. With pricing information, dealer reviews, side-by-side comparison tools, photos, videos, we provide all the information for a car buyer to make a confident buying decision. How many of you are from Boston? Who's ready to watch the Blackhawks beat the Bruins tonight? So a little bit of about our IT back in '98 versus now. When we first started about 15 years ago, the IT department consisted of about 5 individuals and 0 QA. Fast forward about 6 or 7 years ago, there was about 30 with about 3 QA. Today we have a IT department of 130 with 10 automators and 20 manual QA, both on and offshore. Over the past 2.5 years, we have transformed to Agile from Waterfall, going from the typical 18-month release cycle on new products to 2 weeks release cycles per product, with respectively 2 months to test to now a couple hours. During this time, we also built a Selenium automation framework to assist in regression testing and fully integrated these tests with our build tool BuildForge to run anytime a new build is pushed to any environment, continuous integration. And CompuWare's APM tool Dynatrace for single user performance. Some fast facts about Cars.com. We use about 600 JVMs to support all of our environments. We have about 17,000 dealer customers. Approximately 1,700 of them are found within 150 miles of this very zip code. I'm not going to go through all of these, but we get about 200 million page views per month and use up about 536 billion kilobytes of storage. Are there any math whizzes out there that can tell me how many terabytes that would be? Yeah, lots. It's about 500. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of our products. This is the inventory editor that we sell to dealers. It keeps track of it lists their inventory. They can view the reviews that consumers put on the front end of our site. It's one of our biggest products. It has the largest regression test bed that we have. This tool, a lot of the time, has hourly builds, so getting integrated into CI was a necessity. Most of this is automated. However, some features like the online chat, which you can kind of see in the upper left corner, is a manual task. I mean, in our lower environments, we're not going to connect to chat all the time, or with automation. When manual, this tool would take about 100 hours to manually test for a release. We've cut that down to 2 hours. So that's a 98% savings. It's huge. Our next product is, this is where you can list your vehicle as an individual on our site. You can pick from different packages. We have a free package where you get limited, less photos, or you can get our premium package, which will add a free Carfax report to your vehicle. It was recently redesigned, is currently part of our CI process. Prior to being Agile, we were Waterfall. Can anyone guess how many releases we had in 2011 versus today? We had about, we had 40 releases in 2011. Today we have about 700 per year. This one, again, is a huge savings. We've cut down 99%. Our next one is, this product is where you can do your side-by-side comparisons of vehicles that you're interested in, see vehicle reviews, research your vehicle. This is, we save a lot of time on this one also. 99%. It gives the manual testers more time for their exploratory testing. Being that we're agile, they can focus just on the newest release stuff. The result of performing a search right from the beginning for a vehicle near you, this is our classified search product. You can go a little deeper and see the vehicle details, see all the photos and videos. This product has a ratio of 2 manual testers to 1 automator with 5 developers. Again, it's just huge the amount of test cycle time we've saved. This is our internal tool. It's CRM. We call it Carslink. It's for our sales folks. This is where they can sell to our dealers, upgrade our dealers. It ties in with Salesforce and will eventually sunset, and we will be only using Salesforce. That's coming soon. This product's a bit different, and they've seen the results of automation and CI on other teams, so we gave them 2 automators and 2 manual testers, both on and offshore, and they also have about 7 or 8 developers. This one being internal, we have about 92% savings, which will be improving soon. Our mobile, we have a mobile site and mobile apps. The mobile site is automated. We currently use Device Anywhere for app testing manually. We will be integrating a tool like Appium or Calabash eventually. Device Anywhere just doesn't work for us with tying in with Selenium. They say they can, but they can't. Our mobile site has saved us 96%. Overall, we've gone from 235 testing hours down to 4.5 hours. So we have saved a total of 98.2% on test cycle time and countless dollars on identifying performance issues long before we go into our staging environment or even worse, production. With tools like Selenium for our automation and CompuWare's APM for single user performance. With all of those time savings, my boss asked, since you have all this extra time, what are you going to do for your job now? I had to tell him, well, why don't I go to conferences and talk about it? I don't know how much he liked that, but here I am. Our framework is relatively large. It's Selenium 2 WebDriver managed by Maven. It's Java-based. Cars is a Java shop. We run our smoke and core tests daily and regression tests anytime we push to a new environment or by request. We built it off of our 2011 technical debt, so that was, we got the initial tools, and there was about 3,000 test cases that we automated for this. We integrate with Agile. We participate in planning, create our own story points, write our tasks, execute our automation, analyze our results, and potentially refactor, for the new changes that came in the 2-week sprint. Our tools, our framework is, like I said, it took us 6 months to build. It was built with myself and about 4 other automators on and offshore. We continuously add new tools or refactor to optimize for speed. We now have 10 automators. We identify our pages first, call into our scripts. Our scripts are grouped together by product and then functionality. We set our browser types and select which tests we want to run in our suites. Our flows are like repeated steps, like a template test. So we make them into a method and call them in a single line of code versus 10. It's awesome. Our tool set, BuildForge is our build tool to integrate for CI. Apache Maven for our content management. We use TestNG to organize and execute our tests. CompuWare's APM tool Dynatrace for single user performance. Just this one tool has helped save us tens of thousands of dollars on identifying performance issues in our lower environments before we go to production. VMware, our virtual machines. We currently have over 60 just for automation. Selenium Grid 2 to run our tests in parallel and get multiple browser coverage. Grid has its own dedicated set of VMs for the node and hubs. Sorry, technical difficulty. SQLite we use to store temporary data. It gets blown away at the end of the suite run. Anything created from our automation deletes. Sicoli 10, we use Sicoli to interact with the non-HTML components like Flash Player or upload boxes. We have an HPQC updater. HPQC we use to, our manual testers write their test case. We have a 1-to-1 ratio with the test cases in HPQC. And it updates with the pass fails in test lab. We also have a screenshot listener. I couldn't find a cool icon for it, but on failure, we take a screenshot and it goes to test output. Our integration with our build forge for CI, it runs against every build. The product teams get notified on failure via email. And we find the performance issues without having to rerun multiple times. We have special timers that we put into our test cases, which we can view results in CompuWare's APM tool for the single user performance. Here's an example of a timer to code. It's very simple to integrate this tool. It's 2 lines of code, as you can see. Notice the naming convention we use. I'll go into more detail around that in a little bit. Let's see. This is a simulated demo of, I got ahead of myself. We're integrated with the APM tool. We run in every environment. It gathers the automation data from all of our suite runs, such as page load times, pure paths, monitors all of our almost 600 JVMs. I'm going to do a simulated demo of how this tool works with Selenium and how we get notified. What would happen is we'd get an email of a regression. So I'd click out of there. Real quick, these are my kids. No, they're not twins. They're just all 10 months apart, Irish triplets. My wife and I like to say we planned it that way. Moving on. This is CompuWare's APM tool, Dynatrace. We would open that up. We see we can identify a regression much sooner with this integration. Continuous performance tests that are running with CI, these are the results. And if you look, between the 3rd and 5th of April, it's showing a rise. So with that, we can then identify from our subversion tool, which builds went in to make this regression happen. Going in a little bit deeper, this is the dashboard that we see. You can see a regression that is outside of the baseline. The naming convention I used earlier, these are the timers that I was discussing that you just add to your code. You want to have something that works for your company that you know what the timer is so you don't get any generic data. And this looks like it's a resource exception from the spike that I see. You can drill down a little bit deeper and see there's an increase in exceptions. Going even further to the pure path, you can see the regression appears to be missing a data query, but that's not my job, so to identify exactly what it is, I'm going to export this and send it to our development team so they can see exactly what the problem is and then fix it. There's a scalable architecture with the Dynatrace tool. It's simple. You install a browser plugin. It then collects the data on the test that you run. It stores it. And then this is where you can export the actual session file and send it to development. Integrating into your workflow, it's simple. Your developer commits, it goes to the code repository, build server kicks off the Selenium tests, and the Dynatrace tool just with the timers that you have, it collects all the data, and you can view it in the client. In your build system, we use Build Forge. That is, it again kicks off the build, starts up the Dynatrace server, kicks off the Selenium tests, gives you your HTML report, and then shuts down the timers. For more on the CompuWare APM solution, you can talk to the guys outside. There's a URL for a free version of the Dynatrace tool, Ajax Edition, I think it's called. Some best practices. It's over the bar. This guy looks like he's doing it right. We want to define our strategy. You want to start early. You get the dev code earlier. Being agile, it's very important, so you can give feedback quicker. Break have them break it into pieces in components instead of full flow of a test or completed product. This helps out, again, if you're agile. Test continuously, run all the time. You want to run with every single build, every single commit that the developers make. You become more reliable and give more value to the organization. Creating focus is you want a select set of tests, prioritize based on needs, focus on pain points from your ops team. You know, what's the risk versus impact. Like sign-on's important, so you want to definitely automate that. Something that's tested weekly, not, you know, that was manually tested weekly, not as important. It's a regular test, you know, put a lower priority on it, but yeah, eventually automate it. One-offs, stuff that they're gonna put a button on, you don't even need to do that, you just skip it. You want to define your KPIs. What do you want or need to measure? JavaScript timings, throughput, memory consumption. Do you have to build a special test to meet one of these, or does it already exist? Some of our lessons learned. Again, it's over the bar, not under. That guy looks like he hurt himself. This takes time to accomplish. You want to have clear and concise naming conventions. For example, you know, that RFD dealer profile page rating stars for me that I showed you earlier tells me that that's getting to the dealer profile page using the rating stars for the dealer on the site. When implementing new tools, you need to gain buy-in. Make sure that you have accurate and engaging data. Not having buy-in is like a generic timer. You won't know what you're looking at, so when trying to explain this to your developers or product teams, it usually goes in one ear and out the other. Having examples that you can explain in detail, showing the benefits of the product and treating the audience with items specific to their daily work. Generating questions from them is a good way to get their buy-in. Sometimes you'll need to work off hours and overnight. You know, when you have hourly builds, you can't test your tests, right? So sometimes having a shaky environment, you got to work overnight or off hours. So I leave you with this: following our best practices and learning all the lessons that we have made us reach our full potential in automation, giving us a sense of victory. Of course, there's going to be more that's got to be learned and more evolving to do, like Selenium 3 that's coming. But we have the confidence now to accomplish whatever we need that lays ahead. And that's all I got. Sure. So the question is, how do we get our data? All of our environments, we have a data refresh of a snapshot from production, and we built in JDBC to our Selenium tests that query the database to get whatever we need.
And then some new features are added. I'm sure that some test data is going to have to be put in there, and then so how do you handle all that and maybe transition over to the customer data once the
So, being agile, having developers that don't commit till the last day of a 2-week sprint, you're right. So we tend to stay a sprint behind and just run the previous sprint's tests on the current development. Anyone else? Sure. Pardon me? How many Selenium tests are we running as part of our build? I want to say roughly about 3,000 each time.
How about the security tests?
Yes.
A number of those, and are they wrapped in your framework?
Yes. I get a question about Secoli tests and if they're wrapped into our framework. Yeah, for different products, it all depends. Not everyone has to use Secoli. But we do have some upload boxes. You know, when you're uploading photos to our site, say you're going to list your vehicle, we would use Secoli. And yes, it's integrated and runs every single time. Sure.
Do your manual testers use the automated tests as a training tool, or
So the question is, do the manual testers use the automated tests as training or anything? So what we did, there's a different skill set that goes with automation versus manual. We built a test launcher So what they can do is, it's pretty much just a UI for them to pick from a drop-down box. I want to run in this environment, these tests. They can kick them off and then get the results. We also do have a training that we built for them to, if they want to career path to automation, they can go through and take that. Anybody else? Sure. Pardon me? I got a frequency of our builds. Okay, the question is how frequent do we build? It all depends. It's a lot of, some of the products, like I said, are every hour, and then we kick off our tests and they run. Or the build tool automatically kicks it off. So the question is there any possibility of us having multiple sessions of tests running because of continuous integration? No, because we don't run, so we classify our test cases as smoke, core regression, and regression, and we run only smoke against the builds, which takes mere minutes to run. Sure. Yes. The question is, do we run the Dynatrace browser agent over grid? And the answer is yes. We get all the results we need to. Yeah, it is capable.
Then how about failures? How the Selenium failures?
It's the question around failures, how we handle them. So our process is we get the failure notice, we get the screenshot that we get to look at. We have a bat file that we rerun the failed tests, only the failed, and then after that is when we'll go and report it as a bug.
Issues, some of the talks people said, hey.
You mean like flaky tests? Yeah, occasionally, yeah. And what we do is we evaluate. We have this thing called a community of practice for Agile, and it's where all the automators meet. And we go through and decide, okay, well, is this test is always failing or it's intermittent. Do we need to rewrite it and just delete it? Is that it? Sure.
You said your company is 12 years old or so there must have been a time when you were all manual testing and then moved to automation. So how did that evolution happen? Did you create a different team to start automation, or was it the manual testers which progressed towards automation?
So this all occurred over the past 3 years. I actually started at Cars.com 3 years ago as a consultant to manually test. I had been automating for 12, 13 years prior, and after 6 months, they decided, well, we want to go automated. They knew about my skill set, so they hired me permanent, brought me on, and we then outsourced to a company in Argentina and got a couple more automators, and that's how we migrated to automation. Yes? How many of our test cases are automated versus manual? We don't have much technical debt anymore, being as we do have a lot of automators offshore that help out. I don't call being a sprint behind really technical debt, so we're pretty close. I'd say about 80% automated. Yes?
You said that the quick smoke copy takes just some minutes to run. So how big are the test cases? Are they really big or?
So the question's around size of test cases. The way the way we classify as a smoke test is we don't really care much about the functionality. It's more of if you click on a button, you'll get brought to the right page, you'll get the right error kind of thing. So they're relatively small test cases, and when you get into, so that's why it takes mere minutes to run. The core are the more happy path, and those take only about 30 minutes. So even if it's an hour build, we can run those also and complete. Yes.
So your
In most, the question is, are we running just smoke tests and CI? For the time being, yes, there are 2 products that we run core regression on, which is the full happy path of what we're looking for.
How do you manage the running of those tests? Is it part of your CI system?
Yeah, so it's built. Is it part of our CI system? Yeah, it is. The build tool just kicks it off, and we configured the build tool prior, so it knows to kick off these set of tests for this particular product. Each one has its own, like, bat file. Yes.
Do you run the smoke test on multiple browsers, or do you just run it on one?
The question is, do we run on multiple browsers? The answer is yes. CI is integrated with Grid, so it's whatever random browser it picks for each of the client nodes. Yes.
What percentage of your CI tests are Selenium?
What percentage of our CI tests are Selenium based? All of them. No, we question around JUnit. We use TestNG. Our developers do unit tests, but we get more value out of ours. You know.
But they don't use mocks. I mean, they use better negative testing, but it's a lower level.
The bots? Oh, JUnit. Yeah, we don't. It's just easier. Yes.
How do you handle these bypass testing, tests that are broken because of ongoing development? How do you manage that?
How do we manage? Say again.
Tests that are broken by ongoing development, that we have tests that are already developed, and now it's
The question is, how do we manage our new development and the tests that fail because of that? It's refactoring. It's a task that we make. We just refactor or delete or rewrite a new test. Any more questions? Yes. Do we identify JavaScript within our Selenium tests? Yes, yeah, it can. We can, and we can even drill down to source code after the CI runs with the CompuWare tool. Yes.
Do you start automating?
I got 2 of you going. Go ahead.
Do you start automating in parallel with the development, or do you wait for the feature to stabilize and then?
The question is, do we automate in parallel with development? And in the best case, we do. But again, when you get development code on the last day of a sprint, it makes it very difficult, so we would get the completed code at the end of it.
Do you push all your test results back into QC? QC has that result report?
So the question is, do we push all the results back to QC? We do, and it shows history. It's for the more non-technical people to look at. We also have the HTML report with the stack traces and stuff that the automators analyze prior to sending the report to the product owners. QC is just a prettier report. It gives your little red and green checks for pass and fail. The question is, the Dynatrace integration we have, is that all we use for performance testing? The answer is no. We only use it for our single unit our single user performance. Our performance team uses the Dynatrace client and load runner to do full load testing. Is that it? I'm finished.